You're listening to Zoo, the show, the podcast.
Hey, you're listening to Zoo, the show, the podcast. It's a podcast with me, Joey, and
William.
And Dallas. And it's about zoos.
zoos. What zoos have we been to? Just the one.
Pittsburgh.
We've only been to the one Pittsburgh Zoo.
I've not have been.
Ever?
Ever. Really.
You know, it's all right.
It's not bad.
I don't
I'll
really.
take it sometime.
I think I went at a bad time of year. But you know, we've been talking about it for 8 episodes now. Or
It's
so.
time to go.
I think it's really time that we take our
We've done a lot of research.
do the podcast live.
We've had many interviews. It's finally time. I'm gonna climb into the lion pit.
You know, we've had lions on for guests, and it's gone okay.
For the most part.
They actually had a really good seal show. That's the last thing I'll say about the Pittsburgh Zoo. They had some cool seals.
Isn't there the zoo in West the one where it's
Oh, batters.
I've never been to that one
I
either.
think I have vague memories of being there, and it was awful. It was just like not great.
Once again. Anyway.
How many animals do we have to catch for it to be a zoo? Or like if we get just a few squirrels into like
Yeah, I mean, I think we could technically call that a zoo.
Yeah. This is, of course, we're lying. We watched the TV show Zoo from 2014. In this episode,
God,
we
is it-
watched.
Is it really that recent?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty recent.
Oh my!
It's
I
5 years
was
ago.
thinking this was like
No,
mid 2000s.
it's wildly recent
Oh my!
and had
God.
3 seasons.
This is incredible. I'm loving it.
We're talking about episode 7, Sleuths. It's I actually really like this episode, if only because it brought back William, you don't have to worry about being that quiet. The cats ruined the last recording's audio quality.
Oh, that's true.
Well beyond what anything you could accomplish.
We'll see.
It's the return of House Bear.
Yes.
The new villain of the show.
God, the best villain of the show.
We start the episode out in Paris. We get a little teaser of things to come.
Yeah.
They pull that, show us some crazy situation, and then
Entirely unnecessary.
be like, but 42 hours earlier, this is what was happening.
Yeah, and like we already know what's going on because it's like, oh, they're in like tunnels in Paris.
They're in the catacombs,
And there's very clearly the sounds of bears. Like,
and then someone's like, "What's that sound?" And Abraham goes, "It's the bears," and then cut.
yeah, like we didn't know it was bears.
Cut to the
Also-
opening theme.
New character.
Oh yeah, we were very confused because there was a new
We're
character.
like, who is this guy? Did they mislabel the episodes?
But no, it was just we're gonna meet him. It's just gonna take a minute.
I'm glad they mixed up how they present these episodes, though. Because they were like
That's true.
vignettes before, and now it's going into...
The vignettes are gone. House Bear was the last of the vignettes, I guess.
So far.
yeah, there might be more.
Hopefully, there's more House Bear antics.
But hopefully when is House Bear gonna get the spin-off he truly deserves?
After we get done with our podcast and like we got like Matt Damon calling us like, listen, let's make a sequel to that one Zoo movie.
That one episode of Zoo. Matt Damon is House Bear.
General Ben.
The episode proper chronologically starts out with Jamie is getting a new passport and IDs because she's killed a man.
Yeah.
She committed a murder in cold blood.
I mean, technically self-defense.
That's
but
true.
yeah,
It was
like,
self-defense, but she's
she's,
really
like, freaking
She
out.
went for it.
yeah. And everybody started being like, chill out, okay? We're gonna figure this out, Jamie. All right?
My
Here's some
favorite.
iced tea.
Yeah, my favorite one was Abe's. Just drink the iced tea and you'll feel better.
Just drink the iced tea. I know you've killed a man.
Like I know you just got your first like notch on your like.
They come back and Jamie has a teardrop tattoo. Her new name is Nancy Armstrong. Don't know that will matter at all, but I did write it down just in case, because we did spend about the first 3 episodes of this podcast not knowing what her real name was.
Yes. So Nancy Armstrong, a worse name.
She's getting her IDs done by a criminal gentleman who Chloe knows, and she pays him to do it quickly, and that's the last we see of him.
Yeah.
Not really important. Everybody's in the same place mostly for this episode. There's a few moments where they split up, but they're in Paris the whole episode, which is maybe the first time we've just stuck to one country.
That's been nice.
For the whole thing.
It has. While this episode was not like great, it was more like it had more continuity. It felt like than the rest of them.
It felt like a show that could continue on, whereas every other episode felt like a weird, like fluke that it had happened. So Mitch and Jackson are talking about the mother cell and saying they can't go to the government for some reason. They need evidence. This has been a constant thing. We don't know why they're not going to the government.
They need more evidence than like they already proved that it like blows up coffee machines. That should be enough.
Yeah.
Like they can at least say like, hey, this shouldn't be on airplanes.
They're talking about it. Mitch says they need a smoking gun, but then he's like, no, that was a dumb thing to say. We need a bloody knife. A very weird bit of dialogue that really smelled of like the writers. Like you could hear the writers' room happening there.
Yeah.
Chloe comes in and says there's a pack of bears loose in Paris somewhere.
Which, at hearing the Paris bear, the house bear immediately comes to mind. So we're just ecstatic.
He's back. we thought he was a one-off. We thought he was a bit character, but no, he's a series regular.
He's gonna have like the reverse of a heel turn. He's gonna help him out in a tough situation.
Listen, I hope when that bear's contract runs out, they're willing to put in the money to keep him, because he's gonna be a star one day.
They're gonna put like Boris on he's gonna be the first credit on the intro.
Ed? No, he'll be the last one. And introducing, or it'll be with special guest bear, but for like 3 seasons.
Special guest house bear. That's his name.
So they're off to Paris. We do briefly cut to Raiden headquarters, where is that the same CEO from episode 1? I assume so, but I mean, he's just an old white man to me. Like that's all the memory I have of him. But it's an old white man in a very 80s looking office. Really drew to mind Gremlins 2. A lot of sharp people in suits.
A lot of neon lighting.
Mm-hmm. And he's gotten a call from Mitch, which is a little bit of intrigue early on in the episode that then is not relevant again until the end of the episode.
Yeah.
It makes sense though, because like Mitch is just an awful person.
Mitch is the worst. Mitch is rapidly rising in the ranks of people I dislike. Maybe because Mitch hasn't undergone as much trauma as everybody else. Everybody else has an excuse. Mitch is just an asshole.
But his daughter's sick.
That's true. His daughter is sick.
It's getting a little convoluted, but strangely, that's like helping it instead of hurting it. Like
it really keeps it kept me focused on it this episode. I never was like sort of zoning out. I was we were eating our pizza on this rainy Sunday morning, and I was really focused in on the episode.
Like, where's my bears?
They're in Paris. They're in the lab. They're with the house bear that went into hibernation at the end of last episode. And Mitch is like looking it over, and it starts to like its heart rate rises, and Abraham goes, "It's waking up," and Mitch is like, "No, that's fine."
Completely unrestrained. Like, they just have this like full-grown bear, this like dangerous creature, just sleeping on a table And, like, no, like, sedatives or anything even, because it was hibernating. They're like, oh, we don't need to anesthetize them.
Mitch is like, yeah, they'll like start, their heartbeat starts to rise when a predator comes around, and then he claims that Abraham is a predator, which seems like a mean jab now.
Yeah.
Knowing, like, what we know from later on in the episode.
I think they're just trying to make him more of a villain.
Mitch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they did have Abraham's big slam on him later on.
It's true.
Maybe
That's great. It was very good.
I'm just making the connection that might be that might have been a revenge quip.
Yeah. Mitch should really be more stressed out about a sleeping animal maybe waking up, because this has already happened to him once before with a lion.
Yeah.
This is not even like a thing of like, because oftentimes we're like mad in the show because they're like, that an animal couldn't do that. That'd be impossible. And we're like, obviously these animals can. This isn't even a new one. This is an old thing that has already happened once. Yeah. But Abraham takes a swab. They're looking over the bear. Not much happens in that scene.
Yeah, that was just kind of a setup scene.
Yeah.
Which it was kind of effective.
Yeah, it was good. Jackson Oz, he's coming back into the picture this episode. He's doing stuff. He's back to his old tricks. Jackson Oz and Chloe walk straight into a government meeting of high-level French officials. I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
And
yeah, I don't know if it was like maybe like a city council thing or
yeah.
It's weird because the one guy's like, didn't someone say he's like a civil engineer?
This is the person who seems to be in charge of the meeting from the energy he's giving off, and maybe it's just because he is a character, like an actual character with a name, a handsome civil engineer is like I believe Jackson and Chloe immediately when they say these are weird bears. We're going to have to start going through the sewers. It's the only thing that makes sense. This also is where we find out that bears of a sleuth stick together.
Oh yeah,
is a common phrase.
I don't even know. It's so confusing. But if we have not mentioned it, the episode name is Sleuths.
It is,
which confused us. But then, in the first few minutes, it said that a pack of bears is called a sleuth.
Yes, it's a nice little, they're sleuthing in the episode.
Yeah.
There's a sleuth of bears.
It's
nice
good. Double entendre. Nice homely one.
This handsome man's on their side. He's like, we gotta get into this sewers. I'm a civil engineer. I have the power to make this happen.
Also, incidentally, I don't know if we want to drop that bomb yet, but he is Chloe's...
Oh, yeah, that's the next thing that happens. He is the fiancé who slept with her sister.
He's like, listen, guys, I've slept with this lady's sister, and I can tell you for a fact.
She knows bears.
She has bear posters everywhere.
She knows bears. And then at the end of their conversation he has with her, he's like, I'll tell you if there's anything weird that I see. Also, you should call your sister. She misses you. Why do you never call?
Yeah. It's like, you got attacked by lions, you came back, it should be fine now. You went on vacation.
They're all staying at Chloe's house.
Such a weird thing.
Her house rules.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's, as far as I can tell, a low-level like agent in her thing, but her house is sick. It's in the middle of Paris. It's beautiful. And
she's like an IRS agent or something.
Yeah. Abraham's doing his whole thing about where he talks about a country. When they went to Tokyo, he was like, I love the women here. And now that they're in France, he's like, I love the wine.
He's a world traveler.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that really is world traveling, though, isn't it?
It's wine.
I'm just drinking the wine.
Or like going to Ireland, the first thing you want is like a thing of beer.
Mm-hmm.
You want Guinness?
Yeah.
Go kiss that rock that everyone pisses on.
Blarney Stone.
Just go make fun of all the names of every street they have.
They're doing some science mumbo. Everybody's in the house. They're talking some science mumbo jumbo in the kitchen. There's Mitch says that there are two types of hibernation: the kind that we usually think of, where a bear goes to sleep in the winter, and then there's like hibernation can also be used to describe like a butterfly that is transforming, which is a hint that these animals might be transforming and changing.
Yeah, I believe, for me at least, this was another cheering moment. Because I'm like, oh man, this bear is going to be awesome.
Yeah, at this moment, my brain started racing at what will they give this bear? What power can this bear be given? Chloe's in her bedroom briefly, and there's a little jump scare where her wedding dress leaps out at her. It's her just like wedding dress leaps out, and she stares at it for a minute, and we all think about how sad she is. And then
I mean that's the intent, but I was still at the point like
still thinking about that bear.
Yeah, I was like, let's get past this. Marriage is a social thing, social construct. Let's just get back to this bear, which is like it's a physical reality. It's just that this bear is going to mess things up for these fellows.
We slide out through into the balcony where Jamie is standing with Abraham. She's drinking wine and she's just thinking about how hard her life is because she killed a man.
She has to answer to Nancy now.
That's rough. Which she chose. I don't know why she did that.
That's hilarious too, because that's literally what she's complaining about. It's like, I guess I gotta get used to Nancy.
You should have done something cool. Should have done like a sick name.
Commodore 64. Commodore 64.
I bet it's a Nancy Drew thing.
I guess maybe. I don't know.
We might have
It's probably there's some Googling might have to happen.
Yeah, we might have to Google Nancy Armstrong and mention it in the next episode.
She's drinking wine. She's talking about how it's hard, and Abraham's like, "I know how I will comfort her. I will tell her the most distressing story.
I will tell her the saddest possible thing, and likely the most the story most based in realism in this entire series.
Traumatic thing a person could.
Oh, God.
He was, Abraham says he used to have a different name. It was Abdullah. And he was kidnapped along with his two brothers and became a child soldier. And
after his parents were murdered by the rebels who kidnapped him.
And for his initiation, they gave him a gun with one bullet and told him he had to shoot one of his brothers. He had to take a pick, and he tells the story of how he realized that both ways would condemn them both either way. So he chose not to shoot either of them, and thus the rebels shot both of them, which is a good way to have a child not kill his brother on screen.
and it's also a good way to be like, oh, you think Nancy's a bad name?
Yeah, it felt like the start of that story was like he was trying to comfort her. Yeah. But like by the end it really felt like, so maybe you shouldn't whine so much.
Yeah.
I care about you because I had to get a new family. They were murdered.
They were all murdered. So, maybe just like...
Nancy's okay.
Maybe just chill out for a while. Maybe call your dad every once in a while.
Yeah, so he escaped from them, changed his name, has a whole speech about how their... Ohana means family.
And family means nobody gets left behind.
Cut out to Chloe's on the street with a guy who I don't think we've seen before. I don't think.
Oh no, he's the director from the earlier episode.
He did. That is him.
Yeah,
okay, I don't remember.
100% is him.
Okay, yeah. So she's telling him, yeah, we killed an FBI agent. Well, a fake FBI agent.
Or maybe not fake, but at least, at best, he was like a dirty FBI agent.
For sure.
This guy's still like, no.
That's not good. You're gonna have to drop the person off of your team who killed an FBI agent. And she's like, but no, she's an important part of no. Oh, and he's like, your team is less important than
figuring out what's going on with these animals.
Yeah, and he's like, you have to figure this out. And we all sort of felt like it's almost like she doesn't have any field training at all.
Yeah.
And he threw her in way over her head for no real...
And they do the thing where he's like, we can't let this go public. Like, why?
I mean,
shouldn't the public know this?
It doesn't even need to go public, but just to other scientists.
World governments should be aware.
Yeah.
But maybe France is trying to really like win it out so that they can be like, look, guys, we beat the Bears.
Yeah, but that guy's from America.
Is he?
Yeah, he's like an American government official who's like, I guess, working with the French. So like, he should already be able to know. Like, they should have immediately told him, hey, this guy says he's an FBI agent. Could you double check that real quick? Mm-hmm. And he'd be like, yeah, I'll make a single 2-minute call for you. Nope, there's no Schaefer, whatever his name was. Bartholomew?
It was Schaefer.
I don't know. Bartholomew Schaefer?
I don't know, because it's in my old notebook.
Was it Benedict Cumberbatch Schaefer?
I'm pretty sure it was Benedict Cumberbatch Schaefer. I could be wrong about that.
Well, there's no FBI agent called Benedict Cumberbatch Schaefer, so you're good. Kill him as many times as you want.
Chloe returns to her home, where they are planning a heist of Raiden. It is not a very good. It has like a real energy, like they're trying to do an Ocean's 11 thing, but it's really slapdash.
And they're all like passing out like glasses of wine. Like, why don't you wait till after the plan gets set?
They're all getting trashed, and it feels like, you know, like they're doing that thing where they're like talking over like what they're gonna do, kinda, and like doing the like showing like bits and pieces and things, and it's like if the three of us were like told like to do this thing, and like we were like, we got this under the don't worry, we know how to rob a fucking bank, man.
Well, we just gotta hack this and do this and hack this.
Yeah, they're talking about hacking, and they're like, it's gonna be a team effort, and Abraham's like, yeah, even Mitch is gonna help.
He looks over so mad.
He's so pissed. He's so it's not a visual medium. I wish you could just like so fucking furious.
Like, one of you guys brought up the fact also that like during this shot where he like angrily looks over, he's doing everyone's dishes. Like, so he's already like, you guys are eating while I'm cleaning your dishes.
I'm contributing. Thanks. They come back. Let's see. Oh yeah, it's the next day. They're doing the heist. Mitch is in the lab with the bear.
Again.
It's unclear what he's doing in this scene.
Yeah.
But he needs the computer that's in the lab for some reason.
So and God, it's so weird. Because, like, he's in the lab, but at the same time, he's doing the heist with them. Like, there's no reason that he couldn't be there with them.
Well, they only have the one laptop.
That actually does make sense, I guess.
And the bear, by the way, the wide shots of the lab are always showing the bear sort of about to wake up. Yeah. It's like always like swinging its head up a little bit, and he's like, that's fine. So the plan is, there's no reason for Jamie to be in the room that they're in, but she is.
Right.
Jamie's in the lobby of this building on her laptop. She's got the website or whatever they're trying to hack into open, and they need to see a high official's face to do it. So the plan is Chloe's going to walk over. She's going to somehow get the guy to stand still long enough for her to take a video, which Jamie will then hold up in front of her computer's webcam and use to unlock the website. Chloe can't do it because the
guard would recognize her.
The bodyguard recognizes her. Jackson's like, I'm stepping up. This is my time. Runs over, makes up some sort of story about him getting a free trip to Africa, maybe?
Yeah.
It was hard to follow.
It was very quick. I think they figured if they did it fast enough...
we'd all be like, wow.
Yeah, we'd all be more impressed. Like any of it made sense.
But he is like, let me check my calendar, and it's clearly doing the thing where he's holding up the phone and going wing, I got you. Let me get the in focus. And they get into the website. They do that classic heist bit where like Jamie's downloading the file, and the bodyguard starts to walk over to her, and she stands up and she's walking away, and the bodyguard's like, ma'am, and then he hands her her glasses, and it's like, oh, we all thought they were caught, but they weren't. Which happens in a lot of heist movies. It's sort of a common...
I mean, they gotta make tension.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know, heist movies just don't work out.
So they accomplish the heist. Right as they finish the heist, Mitch gets his blood results back from the bear. They've been testing the bear's blood. and he's like, "Oh, the bear's blood is real weird." And then the bear starts to wake up even more than it was starting to wake up before. And he gets the nurse who's in the room with him, who the nurse seems to have no understanding of like her job.
Yeah, well, I mean,
or nurse, I guess the lab assistant more than like nurse.
And it might even be like a regular scientist.
Yeah.
Like it's not at all addressed who or what this lady is.
But she seems confused by everything Mitch says. And then they run over and are like, "We gotta put the needle into the bear and knock it out." And Mitch tries to put the needle into the bear. And this is where the episode really, really turns around for me.
After he said the blood was weird too, he was like, "And this DNA doesn't make any sense. It looks like it's changing."
Changing? Changing? What?
And then he tries to stab it with the needle.
And it curves away like a cartoon.
Yeah, like Superman getting stabbed with a sword.
It bends as he tries to hit it, and he's like, "Oh shit! Feel this bear with me." The needle doesn't work, and he's like, "It's like it's got armor on," and he's like pushing on the bear, and he's like, "Feel this bear with me." Touch this bear.
Feel this bear that we're very concerned is waking up.
Really get in there and
like push into its body as hard as you can with me.
Really get in there.
And then of course, like we've all known it was gonna happen the entire show because it's unrestrained on a table in a glass room.
The bear wakes up and like she's off in the corner like frozen, and he's facing the bear and he's like, "What do I?" And the bear swats him and he like goes down. That would definitely be a swat that would like fuck him up.
Destroy your jaw.
Oh my god! I thought it was in his like chest area.
Me too originally, but he didn't have any wounds there.
Yeah, small scratch below his eye.
He had a really small scratch, which to cause that small scratch and nothing else, it would have had to have whipped him. He wouldn't have fallen over. Like he went down, and like they just didn't want to have to show him like all they only have room for one bloodied handsome man in like per episode.
I think we might have forgotten a small detail. So earlier, whenever they were looking at this bear, its eye had not. Its eye was regular, and then once he was like, "Oh, the DNA looks like it's changing." He looked in its eye, and that's when it woke up and messed him up.
Had the defiant pupil. Yeah. It woke up. It fucked him up real bad. No, it's just slightly wounded him, and
it should have killed him. Like that would have been it. Like
he managed to hit it with a tracker on the way out, and then we cut forward in time a little bit, and they're already tracking the bear. They're going to a place called Mutin Forest, which I assume is a real place. And Mitch and Jamie are in the lab. Mitch is telling them about how the bear now has an endoskeleton.
Because he's even like, it's got like, oh come on, it's got like armor, like none of them want to admit this is happening.
It's the old Whitest Kid You Know sketch about about bulletproof bears.
Second Amendment rights.
Some kids put a bulletproof vest on a bear. Bulletproof invincible bears. Is that what you want? So they're out hunting the bears. They get out to where the bear is supposed to be, and the civil engineer is out there. The fiancé is out there with like a team, and they've taken down the bear with tranquilizers. It's unclear why the civil engineer is involved.
Yeah, and he even is like, he brings up that it has like armor.
Yeah, he's like, that bear has real thick skin. Is the way he
like
puts it.
Super thick, I think. Mm-hmm. And then he's like talking to Chloe. He's like, "Is this some super secret weapon that you guys are developing that you're keeping secret?"
I mean,
and she's like, "No."
It's a crazy idea, but like to be fair, back in like the past, people have tried to use animals as weapons, to not a whole lot of success. What if we just tied bombs to bats? Imagine, imagine these bats. We could train them. What if? I mean, I don't know if the thing about tying bombs to dogs and sending them
It did not work at all.
Yeah,
It was very poor.
Yeah. This is the kind of level thing. Maybe if you could give the dogs endoskeletons, then
that would have worked better.
It would have been better.
Oh my god! Yeah, just
But she's like, no, obviously not. Jackson finds a body, and they're like, oh, he was killed by a bear. It's sort of a weird. I don't know if it's like, the body is wearing like a jumpsuit, so I assume he like is some sort of person who works in the forest. I don't know.
Who knows what he does?
They don't really care. The body's like glossed over.
Yeah.
Because the next thing is that Jackson's found poop again. There's bear scat everywhere around here.
We have to cordon off this area.
And everyone's like, great job, Jackson. That's the reason he's in this spot. Yeah, he's the
best at finding animal shit.
That's why he was so surprised when he was in the prison and they didn't see any wolf scat. He was like, normally I can find wolf scat everywhere. Like, there's nowhere I can't find wolf poop. They come upon a fort. I don't remember what the fort was called. Do you remember?
No, it's from the French-Prussian War from the 1870s.
And they go down into the fort and they see one of the like metal doors into like the inside of like the walls has been ripped open. And they're like, the bears must be in there. So they head in, and the civil engineer, who's a real baby about the whole thing, real whiner about the whole deal, is like, do I have to come?
I mean, to be fair, we were all like, dude, why are you going with them?
It's true. Yeah. We were all, I just wish he would either be brave about it or not go.
Yeah. Like, because it made no sense for it. Because he even was like, do I get a gun? They're like, nah.
No, absolutely not.
He slept with this lady's sister. You don't get a gun.
Chloe's even yourself. Like, I hope bears fucking eat you.
Yeah.
So they're inside. We've reached back to the start of the episode, that little treat we had. Yes. Except now it doesn't cut away when they're like, "What is that?" And Abraham is like, "It's bears," and he pauses. Snoring. That's the big reveal that we've been working up to. They're asleep. And they go in, they find 2 bears, which are sleeping, which are in hibernation.
Yeah.
And they're like, we know there are 3 bears. So they're like, we have to go in further. And they find the 3rd bear. And then they say, okay, now let's leave. It's a really, like, it's hard to describe, because it's, like, a lot of tension building and, like, music and stuff, and them kind of, like, arguing about, like, should we go deeper or whatever. But really what happens is they go in, they see 2 bears, they're like, let's go a little further. They see 1 bear, and then they turn around.
Yeah.
And they're walking back out, and Abraham realizes they're in the room where the 2 bears originally were. But guess what? No fucking bears in that room.
And there's no bear scat either.
No bear scat either. They have pooped outside because they're like people now. And then they hear behind them. They turn around. The 3rd bear that they had found second is awake, and it's staring them down. And they're all standing still. And Jackson is like, "Nobody move."
Yeah.
And
oh man, this was such a weird thing, because like Abraham is closest, like by a good distance, to this bear that just starts rushing him. Like, not so much rushing, but just like taking a stroll. Like, hey man, how's it going? And like the rest of them just like run away, and they're like, well, Abraham, you're a big guy. You can handle this bear.
Yeah, well, the fiance bolts first because he's a coward.
It's a step.
He bolts first, but like a fool, because he should know there are bears back that way too. Yeah. And he gets swiped.
This is what ticked me off about this swipe. Because this dude is, like, immobile, like, leaning up against the wall with just blood rushing down his, like, shoulder area. And that couldn't have been a worse swipe than, like, Mitch got.
No, yeah. I mean, the thing is, we've all seen Leonardo DiCaprio get mauled by a bear at this point, and I think we're all like kind of Our expectations of bear maulings are really high.
Yeah, when you have we're all experts on bear maulings.
That's right. We've all seen The Revenant. We all know exactly what it would be like to be mauled by a bear, and we would. Every single one of us could survive it. And yeah, I could climb inside that fucking horse. I'm fucking.
I would have used a real horse on set. Just for the realism. That's why he didn't get the Oscar.
Why is Leo such a wuss? No. So he gets swiped by the bear. Jackson comes up and shoots the bear in the butt, which is its weak spot.
Yeah.
Which leads me to think that maybe they were thinking, hey, video game tie-in. Because that is exactly a video game.
Yeah, that is a trope.
That's a video game thing of like the big mob that like you can only hit in the back, and so you have to get around it and stuff. And it charges you, and then you like jump over it or whatever. But probably not. But it had that energy to it.
We'll send Patterson a letter.
Yeah, dear Patterson. I mean, there was an era where people were just making everything into video games.
Yeah.
It was really bad video games, but like, it was happening. So he's like, the weakness is their butts. And so he takes out the one bear. He runs back to Abraham, who's like been staring down this bear for a good minute. And then Jackson distracts it and is like, come over here so my friend can shoot you in the butt. And I don't know why he's not just saying, Jackson, or Abraham, shoot it in the butt. I don't know why he's phrasing it like...
Because the bear has to believe he's being spoken to.
And it's weird, because, like, haven't they already addressed that they can understand them?
Maybe.
I don't know.
It's so weird it's hard. They might not have.
It's moving in different ways to the animals. Like tigers can, maybe lions can understand them and use cell phones, but... But bears are just like real tough boys.
Yeah, they're the tanks.
They take out 2 bears. They don't know what happened to the third, and it never gets. We never find out.
Never addressed.
What happened to the third bear. It should have probably, William, you brought this up. It should have probably been the last scene. There should have been like a moment where it's like the bear's in the car with them or something.
It's like them driving away, and then it like zooms under the car, and the bear's
Cape Fear.
I was gonna say, like, I hope there's a Goldilocks situation where it goes to like a latchkey girl comes home, and the bear's just there eating oatmeal. It's a reverse. But I think Cape Fear is better.
Yeah. Chloe, I don't feel like she's really... It's weird because I don't feel like she really had a lot of character growth, but she had 2 scenes where it felt like that was like the end point of the character growth moment.
Yeah.
Because she, like, we really don't... We see the starts of these problems, and it's more just that, like... I guess, like... You see the start of her having, like, a confidence issue or, like, being angry at a person, and then you get attacked by a bear. I guess, like, that would probably be like, okay, that puts everything into perspective for me. But she tells her ex-fiance, who's, like, bleeding, that might also be part of it. Maybe she was just like, that was good. That really helped me out.
Yeah, like...
I liked watching him get swiped by a bear.
Especially after I told him, I hope you get attacked by a bear.
She tells him to be good to her sister, and he's like, yeah, sure. I'm brooding and handsome. And then...
Which is just another one of mainstream media's just like trying to force in some kind of family values. Like, listen, just because a guy cheats on you with someone else doesn't mean he wants to be in a relationship with that other person.
Yeah, he might just be a dick.
Yeah.
He could just be an asshole.
She could have just been hotter than you.
Like, the implication, if, like, she's saying that to him, is that she, like, recognizes in some way that their relationship wasn't working, but we have no evidence of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, obviously that he cheated on her, but we have no evidence that there was anything wrong on her end, other than that she chose an asshole.
A handsome civil engineer who somehow has a lot of power within whatever government he...
That's just what France
deals
is
with
like.
The bears in the sewers.
Yeah.
We know that's part of his job.
It was like 2 years ago, and he was like, can I be in charge of bears? And they were like, you mean in the city of Paris? And he was like, yeah, can I be in charge of the bear problem? They're like, yeah, man, you can be in charge of the bears.
Go for it.
And they wrote up into legislation. They never expected it to.
Can I have my desk say my name and then civil engineer / bearmaster?
They go back to the lab where Mitch explains what we already know, basically, which is the animals are evolving, but like with purpose. If they're evolving, but with style.
And the mother cell is accelerating this process.
Yeah, and then they sank the mother cell. They were like, maybe the mother cell can fix this problem. And I sort of knee-jerk went to, it can evolve us, and then we'll be stronger than the animals. But no, they mean to reverse things.
We'll have another set of thumbs on the other side of our hand.
We'll be twice as good at tearing down rainforests.
We can use double guns.
So they think the mother cell can fix it. Chloe goes and talks to her boss and is like, we think the mother cell can fix it. And I'm not dropping Jamie. And fuck you. And he's like, you passed my test.
Yeah, she spits in his face and like, you can go to hell.
And he's like, I love this.
He's like, you surprised me. Last scene.
Yeah, last
scene.
This was
the big one. This is the big one.
Mitch meets the CEO in Paris, the CEO of Raiden, and he's like, I had to lie to my wife. He said it in a real weird way. I had to lie to my wife.
To be here today.
I had to lie.
Just bring her something really nice from Paris. God.
I missed my anniversary.
Why are you trying to guilt trip the guy who's blackmailing you? He's blackmailing
you. If you're gonna try and guilt trip them, start with the blackmail. That's the worst thing they're doing to you.
I can't believe you're blackmailing me right now.
This is so inconvenient for me. Do you know?
I've been blackmailed a bunch of times. But, sir, you are the worst at it.
I had to ride in coach. He had to lie to his wife. Mitch is saying he's going to trade the mother cell for his daughter's medicine, which Raiden has been successfully making medicine. I should say, this is a weird call from him because Raiden's medicine also presumably contains the mother cell, so maybe his child is going to gain superpowers at some point.
Yeah.
Sure. Just say all their products.
They say everything has it in it.
Which still doesn't explain why it would do anything.
Yeah. Shit should be happening to people, but maybe it is, and we just don't know yet. So he's betraying his squad, which makes sense. He's sort of felt like he had that energy from day one that he would.
Yeah.
But I'm sort of feeling like there might be a reversal.
Yeah, I think there has to be.
Yeah, I know we didn't really discuss it, but I've been thinking he's a real.
It just seems unlikely that that's the direction they would go.
Yeah, he just seems so much of a dickhead.
Yeah,
he can't possibly.
It would make more sense if he was a real nice guy.
Yeah.
I think a few things. One, his betrayal, it framed like Judas and Gethsemane.
Mm.
But also, I think they also just need a villain. Because they killed Ben. Evan is out of the picture, but definitely not really.
Yeah.
So they need a villain for this episode to keep things going.
Fingers crossed Evan comes back and he was just hibernating like the bears.
We're all hoping. It was a good last pair of lines, too.
Yeah.
CEO is like, how do I know you even have the mother cell? Oh, and Mitch is like, have a nice day, and walks away because he knows he has the upper hand.
Yeah.
He knows he's got all the power in the relationship. That's how he made him fly to Paris.
Missing his 25th anniversary with his wife.
Do you think he's a good husband?
No.
Do you ever think about that? Well, maybe he's evil, but he could also just what if he's really listens?
I mean, he did to be fair, he skipped his anniversary for a blackmailing thing.
That's true.
I feel because what's Mitch gonna do with the thing? He was gonna give it to someone else. There's no one else to give it to.
Yeah, they've already said they can't go to the government for some reason.
No one's gonna believe that you. No one's gonna believe that you have this thing that can make lions telepathic and.
Also, if they're gonna believe it at any point, you're not getting away with it at this point. There's no cover-up happening anymore.
Yeah.
Once the lions start, marching on, fucking, France or whatever, it's not gonna. No one's gonna be like, whoa, what happened?
Yeah.
They're gonna figure you out. You're not gonna be able to be like, I don't think it was me.
Yeah. So I definitely think that there's gonna be a reversal with Mitch. I think it's leading us down that.
Yeah.
Like he'll probably get the medicine and then like be like, haha, I got what I wanted.
Yeah, or he'll give him the tube, and then they'll be like, "I can't believe you gave it to him," and then he'll like open his mouth, and it'll be in his mouth.
Awesome.
And he'll be like, "Gotcha," and then the tube is a bomb.
That'd be really cool. So what do we think about this episode?
I would rate it higher than average, but not in the heights of what this show does.
Yeah.
I would say 3.5 out of 5.
I'd probably say 3.5.
Yeah, that
I think I'm interested in this show because it's weird. The prescience of there's so many conspiracies happening, government and business, but also this weird thing I've heard people say before of like these businesses have cures to our diseases, but they won't release them because they're making money.
Yeah.
And those, it's weird to see that in a mainstream show. Honestly, maybe because we're just
because I think
we don't watch cable anymore.
Yeah, I think that's one of the more mainstream
I do think
conspiracies.
James Patterson is like very much feels like he runs in that sort of circle of me, and I haven't read a lot of James Patterson recently. I should probably I'm gonna get this book, and I might read some other James Patterson books just to get sort of a sense of where he's
never
at.
Going to.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
Anyone who writes who co-writes a book with Bill Clinton, I don't want to read.
Oh my God, he did?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I think it's actually called The President is Missing.
Oh boy.
That was very recent.
Hilarious.
Yeah, it's Bill Clinton and James Patterson.
Oh my God. He's an old man now.
He is.
Should we talk about our animal, our hopes and dreams for the future?
Man, yeah. I gotta think of one, because like honestly, this really... I think mine's just gonna be like the natural progression of this idea of bears evolving.
Oh yes,
because like this was only 4 of them. There's a bunch more.
This brings a whole. We have a whole new avenue to explore in this segment.
Yeah,
which is we can name animals with superpowers.
Yeah, like at this point, this is like a prequel to Monster Hunter.
Yeah. Oh man.
This would actually make like a really cool like extended universe type video game thing. Because like you see like, okay, so the lions, they have like the telepathy, and that makes sense because they're real agile, they're like real stealthy, and they got to be able to talk to their guys.
They know how to march in a line all together.
They got the bears, and they're just getting this like super armor. Because, like, what else are they going to do? They're just going to show up and mess things up.
Bats are immune to pesticides and can fly very high.
Yeah. Like, they're just... Oh, they're making perfect versions of themselves. It's so great.
I know what animal I want to see. And it's something that, even before I started watching Zoo, I've been thinking about this for years. And I desperately, desperately want to see a pack of pugs take down a larger creature.
Yeah.
I've said this before. This is something because pugs can't exist in the wild, but I've always wanted to see a sort of documentary film in which it's presupposed that pugs are alive in the wild, and you see a beautiful deer standing like near a lake, and a sort of David Attenborough type like over the beautiful deer. But what's that sound off in the distance? And you just hear a chorus of
just a bunch of wrinkly, disgusting, cross-eyed faces.
Oh, so small. I just want to see Jackson Oz slowly, like... Well, they can't open their mouths enough to bite a person, but slowly, like, licked to death, I guess. Just...
They're smothered.
Yeah, hundreds of pugs just rolling around on top of him like so many maggots on a...
Yeah, that to me brings up a good point. Like, there are gonna be animals that even evolution is not gonna help. Like there's nothing that you can give to a pug that's gonna make it an effective killer.
I'm trying to think of what it would be, and it would probably be like a horn.
Oh, that'd be cool.
A pug with just a small horn out the front of its forehead.
It would have to be like poison tipped.
Yeah.
Because just that, it'd be like getting hit with a tack.
But even that, they aren't stealthy. They couldn't sneak up on you.
But there'll be so many of them.
Yeah, the numbers maybe would help.
Yeah, it has to be a numbers game with bugs. There's no other way. Unless
they've got to develop like insect-like reproductive.
Unless they turn a corner in a like laboratory or something, and there's just a full human like muscle bodybuilder body, but with a bug's head on top.
Pretty cool.
Oh God.
Oh, I have my. I think I would like, since Thanksgiving is coming up, I think the episode should start in a turkey, like, factory.
Okay.
Basically. And they take over and force people into, like, basically the oven or whatever their equivalent is.
You're a sort of satire of...
Yeah. And then the people are really confused, and then the turkeys drop in carrots. And they're like, oh, no.
And then they're like, oh, I like carrots. This might be good.
They're feeding us. I was like, they're not feeding us.
Them.
Yeah, we're gonna feed them.
It's sort of a makes you think Twilight Zone style.
Yeah. It feels like at this point, now that we know that it's like a mutation game, we have to figure out like possible mutations.
Yeah, that's gonna be next episode. We're gonna have to really like bring the.
What would a turkey? Maybe like the feathers get super hard.
I'm
like
thinking
knives.
I feel like it's what do you call the little neck flap? The
gaggly.
The giblets.
The giblets.
I don't know.
I would like to see one with just a giant one of those, and it really just swings.
Yeah, it's like a mace.
Or alternatively, just big turkeys would be great.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
Just real big
really,
turkeys.
If you make it big enough.
Any animal.
Yeah, any animal.
Terrifying.
Oh, God.
I think they just need more taste for blood and commitment, because turkeys are awful.
They are.
They're so cruel.
They're the worst. Especially turkey vultures.
Turkeys.
I don't know if that's technically a turkey or a vulture.
Turkeys just evolved to use day planners.
Yeah.
they get real good at time management.
Oh, God.
Oh, God. They're so efficient.
Yeah.
They're spending 25 minutes working on their projects and then taking 5 minutes off for rest.